Hey, thanks for coming back to the channel. Those of you that have not unsubscribed, I don't know what's going on with my subscription levels, but they haven't really uh, grown, haven't shrunk either. I'm just a little nervous about that. So if you like the content, uh, please subscribe. Get your friends to subscribe, like whatever you like, and don't forget to hit the bell icon. But let's talk about the vaccine. Um, for this beer virus that's going around. First, let me state very emphatically I am not an anti vaxxer. I believe in modern medicine, but I'm not stupid. Um, there are times when vaccinations really are important. And then there are times when it's just a big mind fuck, like what's going on with this thing. All you do is follow the money, and look at how much money has been spent, at least with Pfizer and Moderna. Uh, Pfizer is a U.S. company anyway, to develop this vaccine using the um, this fast track program that the administration has come up with. Um, the facts are still this: the virus is real. It has a very low mortality rate. It is not Ebola. Most people will get it, and most people who get it will have minor inconvenience, and a very small percentage will die. Yeah, people are getting all wrapped around the axle about 250,000 people dead. That is a nit. Unless you're one of the 250,000 or you're one of their family members, sucks to be you. I don't care. That is not a number big enough to do what has been done to this country for almost the world, but I'm this country for almost a year. Now, uh, the virus is real. There is no cure. There is no treatment that is recognized as consistent. The only treatment is for certain symptoms. The worst is you can't breathe. They stick a tube down your throat, or they put you on an intubator and you die in the ICU. Uh, the promise then, the last promise, is that a vaccine would happen. And so companies around the world have feverishly worked on trying to find a vaccine. Uh, Pfizer was first out of the block saying my stuff works. It's 90% effective. I say bullshit flag is out. Just just because there's some article in all of the mainstream media that says you said that, uh, not that's not working for me. And as far as the Food and Drug Administration and all these emergency uh, federal approval is all about injection of money into the shareholders of Pfizer, because then not a single one of these give a shit about individual people. They care about the money they're going to make as a result of this vaccine. Now let's come back to, okay, let's say that such a vaccine is in fact 90% effective. Here's the fun part, and I'm going to pick on Pfizer, right? And by the way, in another life, I used to hang with the top five pharmaceutical companies in the world. I hate them as much as I hate health insurance companies in this country, right? For the same reason. Time for another video. Uh, you're going to love this, right? So, the Pfizer vaccine has to be kept at minus 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's to make sure that it's effective. Think about that. Minus 100. That's 20 degrees colder than the worst temperature at the South Pole. It gets better. There's no capacity in the United States with ultra cold storage either, because you got to get the vaccine from its manufacturing place to to the places where it's going to be used. right? How do you do that? Wheels, wings, or rails. And none of those have the ability to keep anything at minus 100 degrees for the length of time required to keep that vaccine effective so that it would work. Now, Pfizer said, well, we have these special suitcases. You can tightly seal them and they can be shipped in non-refrigerated trucks. Well, that's cool, but then you have to you have to open them. When you open them, where are they? They are in hospitals and pharmacies and outpatient clinics. Zero have the ability to take them from the suitcases and put them somewhere and keep them cold enough for long enough to administer the number of doses that would be in the millions. So you can't get there from here. Yeah, you have a vaccine, and yeah, you can put it in these super deluxe whiz bang storage things and keep them at minus 20, but then somebody has to open them, and you either administer the number of shots, which are 5,000, by the way, per container, administer 5,000 within 4 hours, or throw the balance away. You see how stupid this is getting? Um, it's just, I mean, the dog doesn't hunt. Uh, there is no solution for that. That's just the technical part. Then there's the political part. Like, who gets the vaccine? Who gets the vaccine? Right now, there is no federal delivery mechanism, period. Or when I say delivery distribution, there's no federal entity of any type that's going to be sticking needles in people. That is not happening. I don't care what you've read. The military is being tasked to the degree they can to provide logistic support, that is, get it from point A to point B, uh, if they can, right? But not to administer and round people up in camps and then start jabbing folks. That's not happening. And if you're hearing that, that's tinfoil hat crap, and you need to knock it off. But it still puts it to the states. Each state has to have its strategy for how they're going to do that. Remember, they're going to receive these things and have to figure out, how am I going to keep them cold enough, long enough, and how am I going to administer that many inoculations, that many shots, fast enough? Crickets, crickets. Nobody knows how that's going to happen. So what's been happening is the American people have been given only one half of the story, and that is, yay, there's a vaccine. Sucks. We have no fucking idea how we're going to get it to you. Working on that, but we have no idea how we're going to get it to you. Now, uh, they talk about dry ice, so, and this is per container. You have 1,000 to 5,000 doses. Oh, let me talk about doses. This is not a one jab thing. You get the first shot, and then you come back later for the second shot. So you need 2 shots, for this to be effective. It's one thing in the military. You just line every swinging Richard up, and you jab them once, and then you put it on the schedule, and then you make sure they come back through. Wherever they are, they go back through, and they get shot again. Total control. Try doing that with 350 million Americans. Try forcing that, because that's what it would take. Otherwise, it would be a waste of the first shot, right? If you don't get the second one, the first one was a waste of time and money. Um, these suitcases only last. They can only hold that temperature for 10 days if they're not opened. And the clock starts when they're sealed. So they get made, they get put in this thing, boom, frozen and sealed. Now, if it takes 5 days for them to get from where they were sealed to somewhere, that's 5 days against the clock. You see how messed up this is going to be? It is the biggest cluster out there right now. Dry ice is hazmat. You can't be putting dry ice stuff in an aircraft, for example, and fly, hundreds of thousands of doses around the country. Um, I don't know. Hospitals can buy these ultra cold. No, none of them have them today. They can buy them, but only a few have the money to do it. Now, maybe the federal government will say, "Go get it, and we'll reimburse you whatever the dealio is." But uh, each one of those is 200 grand. A correction, 20 grand, and they're in short supply. The largest manufacturer of them, a company called K2, that's Kilo 2. Uh, the wait list is 6 weeks from order to delivery. Uh, by the way, remember I said it was 2 doses, 21 days apart. So that's three weeks. You get the first shot, and you got to come back 3 weeks later for the second shot, right? Think about what's happening and what's happening cycling the population to make that happen. And it's the state's responsibility, right? Now, as of now, there is no solution for the logistics. Everybody's arms and legs are going trying to figure this out, right? Um, my personal sense, and to come back to the purpose of this video, is I am not going to be standing tall, first adopter, please shoot me first with this vaccine. I have no way of knowing that, one, that the vaccine is as effective as they say it is. I have no idea what the side effects are. Nobody is talking about side effects, right? I have no idea uh, in the distribution chain of events, the logistics chain of events, if there would be some kind of break that gets at reduces the effectiveness of the vaccine before it even gets to me. Uh, so that dog doesn't hunt. Now let's talk about the other part, and that is who gets the vaccination in the first place. Well, first question is it voluntary? Is it voluntary? Remember, this is not, uh, it is contagious, but not fatal. When I say not fatal, the fatality rate is not something we should even give a shit about. And yeah, 250,000 people have died in a year in this country. Tough shit. Not sufficient to do what we have been doing. Not sufficient to implement mandatory, put you in jail, not allow you to travel kind of restrictions on people who do not get vaccinated. Right? It's not that important. It's not that important. Um, Frankly, people should just get sick, and those that die, die, and those that don't, and life goes on. Uh, what about grandma? Well, grandma was going to die anyway. It just happens sooner than later. But I digress. Um, so, is it voluntary or not? Uh, well, I can envision state and local governments putting restrict. You have to have proof that you had the vaccination before you can go into a store, before you can use transportation, public or otherwise. Before you can do anything, you have to show your papers. Show your papers. Well, first of all, that is a medical record. It's nobody's business. That's a violation of HIPAA. Nobody should be asking for proof of any medical treatment that you've had, period. Now, in the military, you have a shot record, which is kind of cool because you have a list of all the inoculations you have. Your primary care physician should have your primary care physician is the one that should have your information, right? Now, let's talk about children who have to have vaccinations and proof of vaccinations before registering for school. Um, those specific vaccinations are targeted at very, very contagious things that make children very, very sick. And any parent that doesn't want to protect their child from that if they can uh, probably needs to have their parent license revoked or whatever the dealio is. Uh, so I don't know how that, mandatory or voluntary. And if it's voluntary, cool, right? For me, once I'm comfortable, once I'm comfortable that the efficacy is there, once I'm comfortable that the side effects are not something that I need to, worry about, then I'm the kind of person that goes and gets a vaccination, I mean, because that's good science as far as I'm concerned. But this is not the right time, and there's too much energy to drive that into the population for something. If it was Ebola, I'm totally down with that. Smallpox, totally down with that, right? Corona, the beer virus, I don't think so. I don't think so. So it was kind of a ramble. I thought I'd put that out there because you hear only one side of the story on this whole vaccination thing. Oh, wait, before I finish, uh, I'm an American, right? And here's my thought on who gets the vaccine that we create. When 100% of all the Americans who want to have the vaccination, who want to have it, when 100% of all Americans have the vaccination, then we think about who else might we send some excess to. But I am totally against the notion that somehow we have to start figuring out what percentage of the production of Pfizer and Moderna are going to be allocated to other countries. Fuck them. Americans first, everybody else get in line. When we're done protecting the Americans, those that wish to have it, great. Then we worry about somebody else. Why? Because those that have manufacturing capabilities are doing exactly the same thing. So it's kind of like a um, a vaccine arms race. And there's more to that, I probably. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close this. It was a little longer than I thought. Um, I'd welcome your comments down below, as always. Any thoughts on what you personally might be able to do to help increase the number of subscribers I have? Because I don't sell anything. I don't sell stuff at all. Uh, I'm not on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, um, you know, TikTok, none of that jazz. So the only way people find me is you tell them, or the algorithms inside of YouTube go based on people's preferences, or I've given the link to people and they forwarded it somehow. So I'm asking for your help to help grow the channel some more, if you can. So with that, as always, thanks for watching and carry on.